Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. When game developers send out review codes to different outlets and different content creators, journalists, and whatnot, from my understanding, there's usually an NDA involved, some sort of, probably some specifications of what you can and cannot talk about. And one interesting one that's going around, claiming to be leaked, is none other than Black Myth Wukong developer. In this article from Bounding into Comics, leaked, and I've seen a few others. I believe Paul Tassi posted on it today as of this recording. Someone he trusts says that no, it's a legitimate letter. It's real, so we're going to go with that. Leaked Black Myth Wukong content creator agreement bans discussion of certain topics, including politics, okay, because it's a video game, feminist propaganda, and other content that instigates negative discourse. Now, discussions abound, I'm sure, on the internet saying this, like, why wouldn't you want that in your article? Why wouldn't you want feminist propaganda? Well, how about you just talk about the game? How about that? What's wrong with just, hey, play the game, talk about the game, don't put all that extra nonsense in the article because it takes away from the review, from the game, and leave it at that. But let's see what the article has to say. An alleged, again, according to Paul Tassi, this is legitimate, this is real, content creator agreement regarding Black Myth Wukong has revealed that its dev studio, Game Science, is purportedly requiring that any and all coverage of the game avoid discussing content that instigates negative discourse. I mean, like I said before, is that really too hard to believe? I firmly believe all NDA agreements for review copies should include something like that. Please just talk about the pros and cons of the game itself. Unlike, websites like IGN and Game Rant and Screen Rant and all the other ones covering Black Myth Wukong, who just can't leave a single story that was debunked and proven to be a mistranslation, just can't leave it alone. Every single article that they put out talking about this game, they bring it up. And Game Science has yet to respond to questions when they invite us to their studio to check out the game. They just don't want to answer the questions because they want you to talk about the game. I digress. The public was made privy to this supposed document on August 17th when it was itself shared to the Reddit group r/gaming leaks and rumors. Supposedly sent to creators by Chinese video game publisher and marketing group Hero Games on behalf of Game Science, the agreement provides an itemized list of do's and don'ts. 1 do and 7 don'ts to be exact. That seems pretty simple. 1 do this, and 7 please don't do that. Actually, well, no, I guess they're not asking please don't do that. It's part of the NDA, I'm sure. Simply putting, don't do that. Simply putting. Let's keep going. These include do enjoy the game, right? Seem pretty simple. Part of the do nots. Now, the funny thing is most of this should go without saying. Wouldn't you agree? Let's go down the list. Do not insult other influencers or players. Well, of course, that's not part of the game. You don't want to bring that sort of drama into the review of a video game. Do not use any offensive language or humor. Okay, fair enough. Some channels have a rather darker sense of humor, a little, use some of the 7 deadly words you can't say on television. But asking content creators and reviewers, please don't use that sort of language and humor in your review for this game. Nothing wrong with that. Do not include politics. I stick with that all the time. Violence, nudity, feminist propaganda, fetishization. Okay, fetishization. Let's see how this... We're going to just say the word. Let's see how this video gets monetized. And other content that instigates negative discourse. I don't see a problem with that. Because the more you include that sort of stuff in, the more you're going to turn people away. Like having an article that's supposed to be talking about the Xbox Series S and X, but no, you want to talk about the current president. Anyway. Oh, yes, we all know that actually happened. Something that has absolutely nothing to do with the reviewing of a console. They're going to put U.S. politics in it. Okay, cool. Do not use trigger words such as quarantine or isolations or COVID-19. Do not discuss, because that, again, these are all things that don't use these words. Why not? Because they have nothing to do with the game. I think there's a lot of journalists out there that seem to be forgetting that. Perhaps, the rumors are true that they just see game journalists as insignificant insofar as, relevance to their job outside of being a stepping stone to get into political journalism. It's like, why don't you just go try your hand at political journalism and leave that nonsense out of our video game journalists, and you might get more traffic. Do not discuss content related to China's game industry policies, opinions, news, etc. Now, that's an interesting one. Everybody's got opinions on that. But again, you are reviewing a video game. Stick to the video game. Seems simple enough. By using the game key in creating content, you acknowledge that you have been informed of the following content and your statements are not related to the marketing team, reads the disclaimer adorning the top of the document. Curiously, it seems that though these documents is in fact legitimate, it was not sent wholesale to everyone. Really? Was not sent wholesale to everyone who received a review code for Black Myth Wukong, but rather just independent content creators. Now, why would you be so selective? For example, while French YouTuber Xserve has claimed to have personally received the document, video game news outlet The Gamer, was it their article I talked about? That nonsense that continues to bring up the so-called statements that were mistranslated from members of the development team. The Gamer has conversely noted that it was not included in the review code agreement that we received. How convenient. Such a discrepancy would also explain why Screen Rant, it was Screen Rant, wasn't it? Whose review explicitly criticized how the game, quote, largely lacks inclusion and representation, was allowed to bring up such a guaranteed discourse-sparking topic, despite such discussions being banned by the agreement. Now, why on earth wouldn't you send that agreement to the journalist whose only sole job is to sow discord amongst gamers? At current, the document's veracity remains unconfirmed, as both Game Science and Hero Games have yet to issue a public comment on the matter. Why should they? We've had enough, I think, with enough people, what, 2 or 3? Probably more now, who have come out and said, yeah, we received the document. I can't wait for the review embargo to be lifted to find someone who has a hands-on, a non-mainstream media outlet hands-on review of this game. Further, it is unknown just how many content creators, and which specific ones at that, this agreement was purportedly sent to. For those interested in getting a copy of the game for themselves, while also being allowed to freely speak one's mind, in its existence, Black Myth Wukong hits PlayStation 5 and PS on August 20th. That's 2 days from now. I have to make a decision between Black Myth Wukong and Space Marine 2. I might have to wait for Space Marine 2. It's a shame that obviously, Screen Rant didn't get that letter because, they just went on a massive rant talking about diversity and inclusion and continuously bringing up the debunked information about what the dev said. The supposed racist, the sexist and misogynist comments. Absolutely ridiculous. They're going to stick with this narrative. They have been fighting against this game for some odd reason for a little while now, and yet, according to Steam Wishlist, it's the top of the charts. Top wish-listed game on Steam. I'm sure PlayStation is going to make massive amounts of money off of this game. It'll be all over YouTube, all over the content creators, all over the game reviewers' channels in a couple of days. I look forward to it. But what do you think about this letter? Do you think a letter like this deserves to be sent, or should it just go without saying that maybe if you get an early review copy of the game, just talk about the game. Talk about the pros and cons of the game, the character, the look, the sounds, the score, the action, the controls, the mechanics, all of the above. If we could get more of that from the mainstream video game journalist websites, they may not be crashing and burning before our very eyes. But let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is begging you to do, and I hope to see you on the next one.